All right, back in my cold home. Consider this my home more so than where I sleep. All my tools, a motorcycle, skateboards, musical equipment, golf equipment, got it all here. Just got a mattress at the house, so that's why I said back to my home. Oh. It's still pretty early. I haven't actually hit any balls yet. Honestly, I don't even know if I want to post this video. It might just be for me. I mean, all my videos are for me, but YouTube is a free place to keep them. Alrighty. Hey, first swing. Oh, nice. Let's get these balls. Actually brought some different golf balls today. All the balls here were basically Pro V1s, but as you've been seeing, if you watch any of my other videos, Pro V1s crack right in half if they're cold. I thought it was a fluke at first, until the third one, fourth one, and a dozen of them, 2 dozen Pro V1s, all cracked in half just from being cold and getting hit. So I actually have over there next to a space heater basket of Pro V1s warming up before I even think about hitting them. Wasn't the best. Pulled it. Something I've always tried to do in my swing, no matter what positions I'm working on or really with any club, is keep my head very still. It's okay to have a little bit of a back shift off the ball, but you really don't want any up and down, bopping around, any of that stuff. And that's something I've known since I was a junior. I got from Jack Nicklaus and the Jack Nicklaus kind of How I Play Golf series. And, I've heard that in countless golf books, magazines, everything. But it really, really helps to be able to return this club head with precision down to the ball every single time with the correct angles, the correct path, the correct everything if you keep your head still. If you're moving your head around a whole bunch, good luck syncing up the club head to the ball. So one thing I'm always focused on, it almost feels like I'm kind of swinging around the tip of my nose, trying to keep my head still. Yep. That'll be, I'm always talking about when you're actually on the course or in a tournament trying to shoot course record, your low round, break 100, whatever it is. You obviously don't want to be overthinking on the course, but sometimes just having that 1, maybe 2 swing thoughts that you keep, it's almost part of your pre-shot routine, your routine. You don't have to verbally say anything, but I've mentioned before, sometimes I'll focus on like that a half inch, just right in front of the golf ball, basically where I want my divot to start. That's done me well in some tournaments. Actually, a couple tournaments I won with that exact visual on every shot. If I'm trying to play a draw, I'm just imagining my divot going out to the right, and starting just that half inch in front of the ball. Just the opposite for a cut. Basically just trying to get a divot going left to target, just in front of the ball. Of course, with a little bit of an open club face to that path, and same with the draw, a little bit of a closed club face to that path. But generally, if you can get your divot out to the right, it's going to draw. Divot to the left, it's going to fade. And then, of course, keeping my head still. That's another swing thought. I tend not to have that swing thought as much because I work on that when I'm practicing, but it's a good one to have on the course. Just keeping your head still, swinging around the tip of your nose. Worked well for Jack Nicklaus. Seemed to do all right. 18 majors. I want to say more, I think he had more second place finishes as well as anyone else, including Tiger in majors. So I tend to try to copy some of the greats in my swing. But something I realized a long time ago is one swing does not fit all. So as a junior, I was trying to swing, you know, carbon copy to Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods. And I still have a lot of feels and different positions that I did get from Tiger, but I also realized that I'm not Tiger, I'm me, and my body is different. So not every move is going to be the same. But basically across the board with, you know, great players, you see common denominators. All of them are either square at the top with this wrist, it's not cupped, it's not bowed, or take someone like Fred Couples, who does have a cupped wrist. A lot of amateurs, you know, they have a cupped wrist, and they're like, well, some pros have a cupped wrist like Fred Couples. The difference is his wrist is cupped at the top. Coming down, he squares it right there before he even gets to the ball. Amateurs who cup their wrist stays cupped, and the face stays wide open. So the common denominator there is still their wrist at impact is flat. Their arm and the club shaft create a line. The back of their hand matches the club face. That's why I'm always stressing lead hand feel. I feel like the emblem of my glove controls all shots, all shot shapes. Try to hit some more draws with this one. I throw it a little further back in my stance. Helps to catch it more from the inside. Throwing it back. That's perfect. But lead hand, I know I've talked about it in other videos. It's the arm that's straight parallel with the shaft. The back of your hand matches the face perfectly. All you gotta do to hit a low shot is turn that glove down. You need a little bit of an open face because you're aiming left for a cut, up to small turn, just the opposite, small turn to close it. Rather than at impact here, this arm, the shaft's here, your arm kicks out to an angle, then it makes another angle. It's a lot harder to be precise with your trail hand, but generally your trail hand is going to be your dominant hand with everything else. You write, you catch, you throw, and that's exactly what you're doing with your right hand. It's basically like if you were to take a ball and try to throw it like this. That's all you're doing with the golf swing, is throwing the club head with the right hand. I mean, that's rudimentary motor skills right there. You know, children can just toss a ball like that. That's all you got to do with your right hand. You're just throwing the club at it. But if all you ever feel is my right hand controls everything, my right hand controls everything, you're never going to develop any feel with your lead hand. And like I said, your lead hand is the hand/arm that everything matches up with the club. So that's why I personally, you don't have to do this, don't take my advice, but it's how I play, is all my shots are controlled with that left hand. Lots of left-handed practice swings, forces me to be square, can't hold the club up easily if I'm bowed, can't hold the club up easily if I'm cupped. That's another reason, just developing that feel just by taking practice swings, one hand, just with your lead hand. Do it with your trail hand too to work on speed. That's really what you're doing with your other hand. But, you know, once you've been playing for a little while, you don't really have to think about this. Your right hand just knows, time to go, time to fire, time to, all you're doing is throwing a golf ball, or throwing the club head. That's all you got to do with your right hand, is just throw it. And when I would feel a little more right hand dominant is if I'm really trying to get it up in the air, trying to release it a little more, but you can overdo it. Don't lean back and try to pick the ball up. because there is a happy medium between, you can get it to launch a little bit higher by swinging up, releasing a little early on it, but if you're not coming down on the ball, it won't have enough spin, your ball's gonna drop out of the sky. So even when releasing to hit those nice high shots, the club head is still traveling down through the ball. It's not up on it. Hammered. Let's see here. Where did I put those? I actually was thinking about this yesterday. If I can find where I put all my ping pong stuff. Oh, yeah, there. All right, and of course I'm gonna need a ping pong ball also. Just bear with me, folks. Perfect. All right, another one of my videos, I was talking about how you curve a golf ball being the same exact thing as a ping pong ball or a tennis ball. And people slice and they slice, and instinctively people are like, oh, I keep hitting the ball right. I keep hitting the ball right. So they swing more to the left, more to the left. But next time you're messing around practicing or even just on the course, is what I really pay attention to is just what type of spin I want to put on my golf ball really determines the shot shape. Think about it. If you wanted to hit a draw, you'd have to come out to the right side to impart that kind of spin on the ball. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Let me do it a little harder. I haven't actually practiced this yet, but I know it works the same. Out to the right, you can see that ball started to turn over. But you also see how I'm swinging up on it. The ball's dropping out of the sky. So if I were to come to the right, with a more downward glancing blow, how's that? Hold on, I hit the edge of the paddle. I'm a golfer, not a ping pong player, but the way you would create lift on a ball, see how that ball stayed in the air? Because my paddle was going down on it, and it floated and stayed in the air. If I'm trying to swing up on it, like everyone is trying to do to get their irons in the air, the ball just drops. All right, let's see if we can do a better example of the nice draw. Swinging out to the right, out to the right. You can see it, you can see the ball turn over. Of course, it's a lot shorter and smaller than a golf ball because a ping pong ball doesn't go as far. And this is what everyone does. They swing to the left, they swing to the left. Oh, and look at that, the ball curved that way. It's as simple as that. Think of a ping pong paddle instead of a club head. Think of a ping pong ball instead of a golf ball. All you're trying to do is put different types of spin on the golf ball. And yes, I'm releasing a little more and trying to hit it a little bit more closer to on the upswing when I'm hitting a high shot versus a low shot or a standard shot, but you can overdo it. Don't overdo swinging up. You're gonna hit worse, lower shots, probably gonna hit it fat, or you're gonna skull it, realistically. And even if you do hit it good, your ball's gonna drop out of the sky. If you're really trying to, especially with your irons, if you're really trying to catch them on the upswing, you're just gonna hit duds all day. So your club is always coming down through the ball, even on those high shots. Just let it release a little more, throw a little more right hand into it when you need to get the ball up, but still coming down on the ball. And you still want your club head traveling after you hit as low as you possibly can. And if I hit a low shot, I'm gonna finish somewhere around here. You know, it feels kind of waist high, just above waist high. My normal shot, it's kind of just like that. When I'm really trying to get one high, I almost think VJ Singh follow through, where it's kind of up here, you know, and let it drop. It's kind of up to let it drop. Just changing your follow through has a lot of effect on the different trajectories you can hit with the golf ball. You know, so low, standard, high. And then even the follow throughs, that's up and down trajectory. And then as far as shot shapes, if I'm really trying to sling one right to left, I'm coming from the inside. I feel like everything stays closed except for the club face I allow to flip through. So I'm probably gonna end up more over here when I'm trying to sling a right to lefter. And then just the opposite, if I'm really trying to banana one to the right, you know, around a tree or whatever, in my follow through, I like to get a little bit of that Arnold Palmer, kind of just never let the club face close. Just kind of, instead of coming to here, you're just kind of holding it open. Never let it close. And I've been noticing Tiger does that these days. He never used to, but he developed a little bit of that Arnold Palmer fade finish. I guess it's a little cut here, the fade finish. So mess around with some different, your different follow-throughs and really notice how it affects the different trajectories on the ball. Like if I were to hit a real low one here, I'm not gonna have a full finish. It feels very much like a chest turn, almost like I'm hitting the ball with my sternum and just trying to cover it. Getting my lead hand nice and bowed through impact, turned down if you will. Personally, I think beginners should learn the low, kind of a punch shot, and then learn to bring the ball up into the air, as opposed to everybody's trying to hit the ball high and far right out the gates. Learn those little knockdown shots, then learn to bring your ball back up in the air. It's easy. Something I've always done, you see Tiger Woods do as well as many other players, is if I have both of my feet straight, you know, I could tip them in, I could have them straight, I could have them out. These different foot positions have effects on your swing. Generally, I play with a little bit of a duck foot, a little bit out in both directions, and I'll explain why. For one, if your back foot is bowed open, let me exaggerate it, let me bow it way open. I can turn way back here with that open foot now. Just the opposite, if I were to kink that back foot in, I can't turn as far back. So I kind of, depending on where my swing's at, I go between a square back foot and a slightly bowed open one, and it just allows a little bit bigger turn in the backswing. And the follow through though, you'll never see me with a dead straight square front foot, lead foot, because I want that bowed open. Because I want to be, obviously the ball is here, I'm hitting the ball. I want a nice follow through, imbalanced. If my foot, say I were to do the opposite and kink it in, I can barely follow through. My leg is twisting, you know, there's stress on my knee. So at least the front foot, maybe even the back foot too, especially if you're a little older and your backswing's a little shorter than it used to be. Getting a little bit of duck foot, it's gonna help you turn back further and have that nice forward follow through. Because the mistake, you know, everyone leaning back. I always tell people when you finish, you should be able to stand on this foot. Take your back foot off. You know, I could swing, pick that foot up. What most people do is, they're back here, if they were to pick that foot up, they'd fall right over. So do that when you're hitting balls. Hold your finish, and just see if you can pick your back foot up, staying in the same spot, and see if you're balanced. And that's one of the keys to a balanced swing, is being in that balanced position on your follow through. If I'm here, I'm clearly unbalanced, and the rest of my swing isn't going to be balanced. What's going to happen is I'm probably going to end up like moving and stepping and doing weird stuff basically right as I'm hitting the ball, right after I hit the ball. And a lot of people, it's like, well, I already hit the ball, so what does it matter? Like I just showed you, low, medium, high, your follow through, slice, hook, your follow through is a direct effect, or is caused by the effect of the rest of your swing. So if you're having, some weird follow through over here, that's because initially you put yourself there. So your follow through is just as important as your backswing, because one leads to the other. If you have a good backswing and downswing, your follow through is going to be halfway decent. And vice versa. If you can work on your follow through, nice balanced finish, it's going to help your backswing and downswing as well. Just because they happen on the other sides of the body, other sides of the ball, doesn't mean they don't affect each other. Ugh, that was terrible. Yikes. Probably hit damn near 2 inches behind that thing. I haven't hit a ball that fat in a while. Alright. I'm still warming up. I shouldn't be so hard on myself. What if I hit 10 golf balls today? Pure. That's better. I hate mishitting golf balls. I don't do it often. I've always worked really hard on my ball striking, but catching one a little thin. I'm the type of player, I know people hate this, but catch it a groove or two thin, and it'll end up 1 foot tapping for birdie, and I'm still pissed off because I hit a bad shot. Just the opposite, sometimes I'll hit it not the closest to the hole, say I'm 30 feet away from the hole, but I absolutely peered my shot and it came out pretty damn close to the shot shape and trajectory I had visualized beforehand. I'm more happy about that pure shot that maybe I misjudged a little and hit a little long or a little short, that came out the way I visualized it, over those shots where I mishit and got a little bit lucky and it ended up close to the hole. So I judge a shot on those two things. How the strike was and how close it was to basically the shot I called, whether I called it out loud or I called it mentally. Never get up to the ball just clueless, like, I don't know if I want to fade this or draw this. Let's just kind of set up the fairways that way and then just hit somewhere over that way. That is the worst possible way to go about golf. Be very precise. Aim small, miss small, as they say. Probably mentioned this in every video I've ever done, but always, not only me, I got this from Jack Nicklaus, arguably at least in the top 2. It's either him or Tiger, greatest golfers to ever live. So what he does is he picks an intermediate target out. A lot of players do this, maybe a foot, 2, 3 feet in front of the ball, piece of dirt, old broken tee, blemish, anything. That it's in line with where you want to start that ball. I do that on the greens as well, and with all my full shots. Because there's a little flake right here or something, if I wanted, which is a little left on the net. So let's say I was playing a cut and I wanted my face to aim there. I just line my face up to that, which is there. And then in a parallel line, I line everything else up. Feet, hip, shoulder. Boom. I'm aimed left. Nice little cut. Oh yeah. It came right around. Let's see. Just hit some shots. high one. Now to the low one. A little low, tiny bit of a draw. Draw helps keep it a little lower. Little draw. Oh, that ball felt funky. Oh, yeah. Titleist, cracked. Funny, none of the Callaway, Shrixons, Nikes, Top Flights, none of these have cracked. Only Pro V1s and Pro V1Xs. Which, I promise I'm not biased. The Pro V1, Pro V1X has been the ball I've played since I was a junior. It's my favorite golf ball. So like I want it to outperform these other ones, but I don't think they're as durable. But to be fair, durability is way down the list of things I look for when choosing a ball. Feel is probably the #1 thing for me. I like a really soft ball. I like a soft ball with a lot of spin, very soft cover, and those balls usually are the ones that will get beat up the most, but it's worth it. I like to be able to spin the ball. It adds, it might take a little bit of distance, the average distance off with each club having a softer ball, but that's okay. Golf's a game of how many, not how far. And I find it a lot easier, to take an extra club or two, knock it down, take some spin off or whatever, than if I were to play a hard ball, like a distance ball. Yeah, I might get, 5 extra yards average on my tee shots, but around the greens, you don't have that feel, you don't have that touch, and hopefully you're not short-sighted, because with a hard golf ball, it's really tough to stop one from a short distance. I think too many people choose golf ball because it says distance on the side, or power, or something, but start at the green. Start with your putter and chipping around the greens when you're testing out golf balls instead of just hitting your driver. Nice little draw. Might have been a little left, kind of a little bit of a pull right there. It's hip here though. Real stiff still. I mentioned this too. When I'm trying to play a draw, not only do I feel like my shoulders stay closed, everything stays closed, everything releases, but I'll actually put it a little further back in my stance. And the reason why is on your way down, obviously you're coming more from the inside, your club kind of bottoms out at the golf ball, and then it starts coming back in. Well, if you put the ball further back, you're catching it more as the club's still coming down from the inside, which is going to promote more of that draw ball flight. And just the opposite, having it more forward in your stance, your club's almost going to reach that bottomed out spot, and then it's going to start moving back towards the left, and that club face moving towards the left is going to put some cut spin on it. So that's why you'll hear, if you're playing a draw, throw it a little bit back in your stance, playing a cut, throw it a little forward in your stance, with the combination of obviously opening and closing, because you want to aim for where you want your ball to start out. Actually, a move many pros have used for years, I've talked about it in my shorts, is, if I was going to play a draw, I would close everything. Basically, wherever I wanted to start, I would aim my body, my feet, my hips, and then I would keep my club face a little closer to at the target. Maybe not like fully closed at the target, but almost a midpoint between where I want the ball to start and the target. That technique works fantastic for draws or fades, but the actual science behind it, I know I've talked about it before, is wherever your club face is aimed, your ball is going to start out in that direction. And if your club is coming more from the inside than the face is aimed, it's going to draw. If it's going more to the outside or across to the left than the face is aimed, it's going to fade. So to actually hit a draw or a fade close to the hole, For a draw, your face needs to be slightly open to the target, and then a draw needs to be slightly closed to the target. So technique versus factually or dynamically what actually causes the ball to shape aren't necessarily in alignment. And so some guys comment on, it was a YouTube video about drawing the ball or whatever, was basically that, like, so-and-so, I forget exactly, it was an old-time pro, made drawing the ball simple, or shaping the ball simple. Just align everything where you want the ball to start, and then close your club face or open your club face more towards the target. And everyone was on his ass about, that's not the science behind it. Your ball starts where the club face is pointing. It's your club path that determines shape. And it's like, you guys are both right. You guys are arguing about nothing. You're right, scientifically, that's what happened. And he's right, that is a method, probably the most common method used on the tour to shape the golf ball. It's simple. You close everything, aim your body wherever you want the ball to start, put that club face in a little bit, just throw it out to the right. Let it release. It's simple. Just the opposite fade. Open everything up. Keep your club face a little closer and still pointed at the target. Comes right back. Just because that technique works doesn't mean the science necessarily matches up. And that's okay. If it works, it works. But as a better than most golfer, I felt necessary to kind of have that guy's back and explain basically what I just explained, that they were both correct. So, reels and feels, reels and feels. Hit something a little longer to get me warmed up. Like I said, these are the first shots I've really hit today. That's probably why I kept hitting a little left of center. I kept aiming, lining up square with the mat. Mat was definitely closed a little bit more than normal. But that's all right, I move it around all the time. I've mentioned this before, but seriously look out for that. I mean, obviously a tee box, not a mat, but tee boxes don't always aim where you want to aim. And it's kind of tough when you have these, nice parallel lines, from the mower or whatever, or just the tee box itself. If I was aiming at the camera, and it was a little right or a little left, just naturally, if it was going a little right, you're gonna naturally want to set up down where all those parallel lines are going. It's a little more difficult. It feels like you're almost open, like you have an open stance at that point, but you don't. Just trying to fight how the tee box is aimed. See, that's the move. Right there in my practice swing, I try to avoid that, the over shallowing. So sometimes I just don't think about it, and I kind of get a little bowed and a little across a little laid off. I almost said over the line, but over the line's this way. A little laid off and flat. And I'll tend to push the ball, hook the ball at that point. So I'm always trying to get that square position. You don't have to go all the way back to parallel, especially, see how that would be parallel with the ground? Even with driver, I'm often not parallel to the ground. Unless I'm really, really trying to rip my driver, I might get a little bit past parallel or too parallel, but even my standard drives, you don't have to come to parallel. It's more about maxing out your shoulder turn and letting your hips turn with it, because